in that pit, in that basement in rock bottom, I found myself. And when I found myself, I reconnected with myself. Feel the pain and turn into it. It's simple on what to do. Is it actually easy? No. Facing your emotions and yourself is challenging. Maybe it's time to face it. Hey, I'm Jason Drees, and if you're a man who's going through a divorce, crawling out of a collapse, failure, dealing with loneliness, this video here is to help you. And the reason why this video is going to help is because I've been there. I've been by myself. I've been on my apartment floor, crying, lonely, where I can hear the people downtown in Austin, Texas having a great time partying, and I'm sitting here crying by myself because my marriage ended. I know what it's like. I used to avoid being alone like the plague. Like literally, in my 52 years on this planet, I'll be 52 next week actually. These 52 years on this planet, I literally have been in a relationship my entire life with multiple women and just one after the other. And I would always find myself clinging on to things that weren't worthy of me simply because I didn't want to be alone. I used to fear being alone. I've had so many times where I just terrified of being alone. And, you know, when my marriage ended, I live in Austin, Texas. When my marriage to my partner, to my wife of 15 years, mother of my 4 children, ended last year, it like ripped me apart. So that was challenging to go through, absolutely. And you've heard me talk about that in other videos. One of the most challenging parts is when I had to move out. Moving out of the beautiful house that I was in with my family, walking my boys to school for the very last time, knowing that when they got home, their dad and his stuff would have been moved out of the house. Like, can you imagine how my kids must have felt coming home that day and how awful it was for me to not be able to comfort them during one of the most difficult moments of their life? And they're going to get a side of the story that wasn't actually that true because that's the situation that I was living in. And what did I have that day? My brand new apartment in Austin, Texas, moving from a 3,500 square foot house, the beautiful part of Austin with a pool and a hot tub that I loved that house, to living in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself, boxes everywhere. And I picked a downtown area because I figured someplace noisy and distracting would help keep me busy. But all it did is I'm sitting here on my balcony crying where I'm hearing people out there having fun. Like literally, I was just alone and I really didn't have anybody. It was just awful. And this lonely just ripped me up. So what did I do? I cried. Yeah, I would drink some alcohol and have some beers a few nights, but like, I could only do that so much. I can't really my body at 52 can't handle partying like that. And I'll tell you though, as difficult as that was, I came out the other side. And not only did I come out the other side, I came out the other side a whole, complete, integrated version of myself that now enjoys being alone. How did I get there? That's what I'm going to share with you today. Because I went through these horrible times, sad, alone, feeling worthless, like I failed my family, crying. My money wasn't flowing in the business the way I wanted to. I felt like a failure there too. And what did I do? I dealt with it. How did I deal with it? I faced it. Now, I avoided it for a while. I escaped it for a while. I distracted myself for a while with the things I could distract myself on. I numbed myself with things I could numb myself with. But I finally reached a point where all of that stuff wasn't working. I used to have patterns of people pleasing and really wanting people to like me and afraid of being alone. And what I decided to do is I decided to face the emotions. I decided to turn into it. So I turned into what I was feeling. I turned into the loneliness. I turned into the pain and I went into that pit. And I've had a couple times, I'll tell you that I've been to rock bottom. And the most interesting thing I learned about rock bottom is that rock bottom actually has multiple basements. I found 4 basements at rock bottom. And the truth is, the time that I had alone was actually a gift that I was not taking advantage of. Because what I've come to learn is that loneliness isn't really a thing. What happens when you're alone is you are alone with your thoughts, alone with your emotions, alone with your reality of the life you've done. You're alone with what you have done. You're alone with what you haven't done. You're basically alone with yourself. And most of us have been distracted from TV or internet or phones or other people with constant input, music, podcasts, and this stuff. So we really don't spend that much time with ourselves. Because what being alone really means is being with you. And just notice how it can almost feel terrifying to be with you, which is silly. Like, why should you be afraid of you? And the reason we often end up being afraid of ourselves is because we have unprocessed emotions. We have unprocessed, undealt with emotions from our life, from our experience, from our childhood, and they're coming up to be felt. And the simplest way to describe it is that it's not like you actually have to do anything with all of these feelings that are coming up. You just have to feel them. It's the way I like to think about it is that you've had a backlog in processing. So you have all these emotions stacked up that you haven't felt. So all you have to do is feel them. And if you sit with them and feel them, they will decrease over time. Now you may have to feel that feeling multiple times, but if you're paying attention, each time it's going to get lower and lower and lower. Because shouldn't you be able to be okay with yourself? Shouldn't you be okay being alone, being by yourself? Because the thing is, when you start to face that loneliness, and it's terrifying, and it feels like you're going to die, you're going to feel like you're going to be alone. But the reality is you start to discover how unbreakable you really are. You also start to understand how strong and powerful you really are. And when you get to the bottom of that pit, the thing actually happens is going into that pit will start to burn away shit that's not true. Lies about yourself that you've been living by, things people told you, limitations other people put on you that you've been believing aren't true. As you stay with it and you feel the emotions, you'll literally start to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And the thing is, in that pit, in that basement and rock bottom, I found something amazing down there. I found myself. And when I found myself, I reconnected with myself. Now, I will say the work is easy. Feel the pain and turn into it. It's simple on what to do. Is it actually easy? No, it's not. Facing your emotions in yourself is challenging. Isn't there a movie where like the biggest opponent they had to face was themselves? I forget what movie that was. But there's like, that's you down there. Maybe it's time to face it. Now I got kicked into loneliness a couple times when I've done stupid things in my life and have gotten dumped or fired from my job or whatever. Like, I'm human. I'm not perfect. But one thing I do is I always get back up and I don't stop and I keep pushing and I keep growing. And I realized I'm going to face this head on. So I felt those emotions and I felt sad and I felt alone. But if I did it, you can do it too, because the reward is so powerful. Because what ended up happening is when you face all of that emotion that you've been avoiding, and maybe you're dealing with something challenging, maybe your marriage ended, or maybe you lost a loved one, or maybe there's a health issue, or your business died. Like, I understand those are major life experiences. I'm not trying to downplay the intensity of this. What I'm trying to say, though, is that you have the ability to handle all of this. You were built for this. In fact, this is a gateway and it's a forge that can carve you into the version of you you've always meant to be. Now, if you're a man listening to me, I know you feel there inside you somewhere, there's a stronger, more powerful version of you. And this sitting in the loneliness and facing the emotion and facing the pain and accepting everything you've done and accepting your life and getting into a state of ownership and getting out of victimhood, doing all of that is what carves away all the fat, what cuts away all the BS. And when you dig into the truth, By facing what's in front of you, you'll eventually reach a point where you find yourself. And when you find yourself, something amazing starts to happen. The amazing thing that starts to happen is, number one, you actually find yourself. Number one, two, your confidence starts to come back because you know who you are and you start to get an internal congruence. The number three is you start to have boundaries. And what ends up happening is when you get to that point, there's this beautiful, magical point where the truth becomes louder than the pain. And when the truth starts to become louder than the pain, that's where you've won, because you start to operate with this internal congruence of alignment and authority. And while we all want to make more money and have more happiness and have more love and have more sex and stuff and travel and all those things we want to do, those are all external things. Your ability to generate external things is based on the internal frequency, your power source inside you. Is your power source inside you 100% aligned with execution? Or is the energy in your internal power source, internally inside of you, leaking energy from self-doubt or self-judgment or scarcity mindset or fear or worry or avoidance? Because you can always think of a reason to feel bad about something. But understanding that you're a human being that has done the best you were capable of doing at every moment prior to now is the gateway to ending self-judgment, to ending self-hate, self-harm, self-abuse. And when you start to reclaim that internal authority, oh my God, it feels good. You stop needing other people to be complete. You stop needing to be complete by a woman. That was my big one. I didn't feel complete without a woman in my life. So I would chase from relationship to relationship. And I'm finally at the point in my life where I feel complete by myself. I feel happy by myself. I don't mind being alone because I like the way it feels to be me. And you know something? You can do this too. You absolutely can. Because what loneliness really is avoiding the work that life has given you the space to do. Life is giving you this space right now to be alone, to ground, to center, to dig in, to transform. Are you taking advantage of that? Or are you in distraction or avoidance or numbing or escaping? Now, I have done all four of those before as well. So there's no reason to beat yourself up for what happened yesterday. You have done the best you could prior to now. In fact, you may have had an idea of how to do better in the past, but you were unable to execute that idea. So you've basically done the best you could. And the way that I've actually ended self-judgment, because I don't have self-judgment anymore, the way I ended self-judgment was by giving myself permission to do my best. And also understanding that my best is different on different days. So maybe it's time to give yourself permission to do your best. Maybe it's time to do your best on every single day. Maybe it's time to face that emotion, that challenge, that obstacle. Because I'll tell you, when you do that work, when you face that pain, when you dig in and go deep, man, that grief or pain or loneliness is yours. It turns into your power. Like the grief I've had, I'm getting goosebumps right now. The grief that I've been through the ending of my 15-year marriage, from having to have my boys in split household, that grief is mine. I earned that. And that creates authority. It creates confidence. Because even though I did everything in my power to avoid that happening, that was my path in life. Now, did I sit and cry about it? Yeah, I sat and cried about it a lot. But I finally stopped. And how did I stop? I moved through it fast. How do I move through it fast? I'm a professional life coach. I've been coaching professionally for 12 years. But even me, who lives and breathes coaching, I still use coaches. I was using 5 different coaches to help me move through this process. But what you want to focus on right now is leaning into the process, facing your pain, facing the truth, facing the reality, because that's where the man you were meant to be lives, and he will start showing up. If you want more, if you want to dive in deeper, look in the description here, the notes. There's a link to book in an identity session. And this identity session is a 30-minute call. It's free. Will help you get dialed into the limiting identity that's holding you back and the identity that will get you out of this spot. It's a powerful session. You also want to like and subscribe so you get the next one here. And really, I want to say to you that I have been through all of this, the pain, the struggle, the loss. If I can do it, you can do it too. And if you're listening to me right now, that means you're in alignment with me. So just remember, you are more powerful and capable than you think you are. And now that we've opened this doorway, you may feel a little unclear on the direction to go or how to do it. And it may make you feel a little odd or weird, but this is the gateway to transformation. So the key here is to stand in your truth and do what's right. And what matters most is when you do what you say you're going to do when no one's watching. That builds a massive amount of internal authority. If you have any questions, put a comment here. I will answer them as best I can. I want to thank you for listening to me today. And I just want to let you know that you're not alone. I see you. You can make it through this. You absolutely can. If I can be of help, reach out and let me know. Have an amazing day. My name is Jason Drees. Take care. Bye-bye.